Hey, hi. It's Tori Magoo 44. Thank you for coming by my site. It is the 28th of October, 2014. So we are cruising along. As always, things are happening all around the world regarding our favorite organization, the non-church of Scientology. These are some horror stories I'm going to tell today, Scientology horror stories that are true, that actually happened. Now, first of all, imagine yourself joining an organization where they trick you into believing that you're helping mankind, that you are in an organization that promotes freedom. See, check out look at this. See, different colors, right? That's because it's Halloween. Okay, so you've got this side, they say it's freedom. This side, you're enslaved. This side, they say you're the best communicators in the world. This side, you're not allowed to talk to anyone who doesn't agree with you all. Anyone who speaks out critically against you, you're not allowed to talk to them. It's a high crime. So, it's this trap where I talked to a lady yesterday or 2 days ago who said, well, the point is I'm a Scientologist because of the state of the world. Just look at the state of mankind. And I said, that's exactly the point. You all haven't done anything since 1950. Nothing. Name one thing that you've done that's actually really helped change the conditions of mankind. It's not there. They can give out their way to happiness booklets, but if that really helped, something would be changing, wouldn't it? But it isn't. It's just as bad or worse. Okay, Hubbard said a world without crime. That's not happening. A world without war. That's not happening. Where man can speak and say what he wants in a safe environment, basically. That's a paraphrase. But basically, where there's free speech, free thought, that's part of their creed. That man has the inalienable right to free speech, free thought. But that's the exact opposite in this organization slash business, phony business, selling things and pretending they're a religion. They're not a religion. Okay, so some of the true horror stories, and there are tons of them, but some of the general ones are that they break up families. There's hundreds, if not thousands, of families that have been broken up where children can't talk to their parents or vice versa. People like me, my husband will not talk to me, even though he's OT8, which is, if you think of a triangle, he's at the top of Scientology as far as being OT or someone with these tremendous abilities. And yet, will he even talk to me? No, not at all. Why? Because they do build in these fears. Now, someone pointed that out on Tony Ortega's site, which if you haven't seen it, I recommend you see tonyortega.org. I'll put a link in the comments. Every day he's got something great. He's really, really an excellent journalist. Never was in Scientology, but an excellent journalist. He was the first person who interviewed me in 2000. Thank you, Tony, for doing that. So basically, over on his site, someone pointed out that in Scientology, it's all based on fear. And I commented to that, yes, that's true, it is. But the weirdest part about it is that you are positive when you're in Scientology, in the Church of Scientology, you're positive. It has nothing to do with fear. I have no fear, none. You're like completely fearless, right? But and yet they're terrified of people like me who are declared suppressive. See, they declare people suppressive. See, Tori Buzazian, declared suppressive person. There you go. Pete Griffith over in Ireland and your friends they have this little Magoo drinking game where if I show certain things or say David Miscavige, you can take a shot on each one of them. So go for it. Miscavige is a totally creepy guy that runs the church and pretends he gives a shit about anybody when he doesn't. And executives who have worked with him have left and said, he has locked people up in what's called the hole. Now, again, that's a pretty big horror story in itself. The top executives of the Church of Scientology are locked in something called the hole, which are 4x4, places, no windows. They can't go out. They're locked in. They have to sleep underneath their desks at night. This is Scientology at its worst. This is a horror show. Another horror show, if you want to read about it, I recommend you do, is Paulette Cooper. Way back in 1970, she thought, she was a journalist, thought, let me check it out. She went in, checked it out, and wrote a little book, The Scandal of Scientology. They broke into her house. They got her stationery with her fingerprints on it, wrote a letter to the government saying they were going to blow it up. She was going to blow it up. She ended up in court with them over and over and over, and only got free from it because the FBI broke into Scientology and found they had these long programs. I have one myself, but they had a long one on Paulette called Operation Freakout. They also had one, Operation Snow White, where they were going to break in, and they did, into the federal government to steal anything against Scientology. 11 people went to prison for that, including L. Ron Hubbard's wife, Mary Sue Hubbard. Okay, and once she finally got out, they kept her. This is another horror story where she never got to speak again. Never. None of the Hubbard family can say anything about it. So what kind of horror show is that? Where, they just take people's freedoms, lock them up, and that's it. They pay people off. L. Ron Hubbard Jr., his son, he did co-write L. Ron Hubbard, Messiah or Madman with Ben Corden. But the Church of Scientology, I worked for them when this happened overnight. The radio stations we were setting up media interviews with said, we don't want to do these interviews anymore. We want to talk to L. Ron Hubbard Jr. And I said, what are you talking about? And they said, Messiah or Madman, that book, we want to interview him. He co-authored it. And I went to the executives. I said, what the hell is this? They said, Tori, go home. Come back tomorrow. We'll show you. I came back the next day. They had a notarized thing from L. Ron Hubbard Jr. I never co-authored that book. I never said anything bad about my dad. I attest this is true, L. Ron Hubbard Jr. And it's notarized. And I thought, it must be true. I said, I don't get it. And they said, Tori, we've told you these critics are liars. That's all they are. That's what they are. Okay, so I believed it. I thought, it's notarized. It must be true, right? I'm still in. This is in 85. I'm in until 2000. I finally wake up. I get out. I meet Ben Corden, who actually was the author of the book. And I say, what the hell happened? And he said, they paid him off overnight, millions of dollars. He shut up. The old tape across the mouth. You shut up, we'll pay you this money. And a lot of people have been paid off for that. Another person that has an absolute horror story to this day, Jerry Armstrong. You can Google it, Jerry Armstrong plus Scientology. Now make sure you read jerryarmstrong.org, his story, not their bullshit about him. That's another horror story of the Church of Scientology, phony Church of Scientology. They have to make up lies about all of their members, self included. They made up a 25-step program about me. If I can, I'll put it in the links. 25 steps to muzzle. The goal is to muzzle Tori Bazazian so she never says anything about the church again. That worked. That really worked, didn't it? I didn't even know about it. I mean, I knew they had some kind of program because I know how they are. I've worked with those, so I know how they are. It is America's horror story. It's actually the international horror story. This is one of the horror stories of the world. And because it's so draped in these celebrities who are pitching it, Tom Cruise, John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, thank goodness for Leah Remini, for Paul Haggis, for people that have left and spoken out. Thank you so much. But these other knuckleheads are still in there and probably will be until they die. Why? Because they have a red carpet treatment wherever they go around the world. That's my viewpoint on it. They also have all their secrets, so they probably don't really want to, chance that they're going to, cough them up. John Travolta's son, another horror story, had autism because of Scientology's abuse on medicine. He could never say his kid had autism. He was on a lot of interviews. I knew his kid had autism. He never said it. And even when his kid died, what did he say? He had Kawasaki syndrome. Doctors came on and said, not true. Kids don't have that at the age he is. So finally, John Travolta admitted, he had autism. Why is that? Because they're so fucking nuts about medicine and medical conditions. Because Hubbard was so against him. I have epilepsy. They made me get off my medicine, saying, we're going to get you on this program with vitamins and nutrients and Dianetics and blah, blah, blah. They nearly killed me twice. My mother, thank God, saved my life on that one. So I'm a living horror story on that. And thousands of other people that are out. You can go to Xenu.net and read a lot of the real horror stories and specifics on them. Or you can go listen to them on video at xenutv.com. Both of them, I'll put the links in the comments, but they have great interviews. These are real, true horror stories. You don't have to go to a horror house to see horror in the world. Just go to Scientology and look inside their buildings and look at how weird they are. They're just weird. They're weird to this day. Walk up to them and ask them anything that isn't what they want to hear. And you'll see. You can see a real live goob, somebody with horns like this, only real live, because they really believe it. It's unbelievable. It really is. So anyway, those are just some of the thousands of horror stories that are out there. They've declared thousands of people suppressive, like me, where it's a high crime to talk to them. I know kids that call me up and their parents, they can never talk to their parents again. I know parents whose kids are in and they'll never talk to them again. Now, maybe they'll wake up and hear this and get out, or hear somebody else, or read something. And that's the great thing. Because of the internet, Scientology's horror show is very, very limited. And I've said it to you, Miscavige, forever. TikTok, time is on our side. Because the more people that leave, the more people are going to speak out. And the more people that speak out, the more people are going to leave. I mean, Karen De La Care, her son died. Would the Church of Scientology let her see her son's body? No, not at all. Heber Jen, her ex-husband, father of that child, is in the hole and told his kid before the son died, I need to be here because of all the bad things I've done. I know Heber. We all know Heber. It's pathetic that they have vacuumed him out to the point where he's just gone. I mean, how pathetic is that? I need to be in the hole. I need to be locked up and sleeping underneath a desk. Ay. And what happened when his child died? They had a phony funeral. They let Heber come out for a day. Could Karen, the mother, go to the funeral? No. Scientology are some of the abusive, creepy people I've ever known. And you know what? I used to just say it was David Miscavige and the executives, but I don't anymore. Because I realized as long as you celebrities and people are supporting those creepy, awful people, you're part of the game of an awful horror story. So wake the fuck up and get out and speak out and bring your documents because you'll never see them again. I'm not kidding you. And losing your friends is not that big a deal because you know what? How good of friends could they be if they're going to leave you because you change your mind? That's the question that Andreas Heldelin asked me that cracked my Truman Show wide open. Because I thought he's right. They don't give a shit about me. They only give a shit about me jumping through their hoops, their way. And that's exactly what happened. And they prove it every single day. So you want to see a horror show? Walk by Scientology. Go talk to a Scientologist. Ask him a question about L. Ron Hubbard or any of the abuses that they do. Why can't they talk to suppressives? Why? Why can't children talk to their parents? Why? Why is it okay to have people locked up in a hole? And you will see how creepy they are. How much they'll say, oh, that's a lie. That's not true. See, here they are calling me right now. Just kidding. Anyway, have a happy Halloween. I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed the horror stories and really go check them out for real. Love you. Bye-bye.